Hi Year 9, this is the GCSE Fine Art course I'm going to explain for the options process. So here we go. Okay. So if you really enjoy being creative and very hands-on, practical, you've loved your art lessons, then this is probably the course for you. The coursework begins as soon as you walk in through the door, and it lasts for a 4-term period of time. So right away through Year 10 and the first term of Year 11, there are 2 coursework units, Food for Thought and Portrait. In the following slides, I'll go through those 2 units in a little bit more detail. So this here would represent about half a term's work. Different students in the same class may well choose very different starting points within this first unit of work. This student here looked at the artist Andy Warhol, and other students will look at alternative artists, and that is very much up to you. But in this case, because Andy Warhol was interested in printing and packaging particularly, that aspect of his work, you can see how this then prompted the student to work in that way. So we've got a mixture of observational work in paint and pencil, but also some printed work using the etching process, and a mixed media repeated work at the end of this process. Then in the next half term, leading up to Christmas, students then choose a new artist. In this case, students looked at Wayne Thiebaud, a very famous American painter who looks at cakes and confectionery. And you can see that a small body of work that's being produced, some lovely acrylic painting with the donuts at the end, you can see there. After Christmas, the students then use what they've learned from the previous research inside the sketchbook to develop a small range of ideas for the final outcome. As you can see here, the student has looked at a range of confectionery, set up a little still life, cut it up, photographed it in different angles, rearranged the cakes and everything, the fruit in particular ways, and then drawn and painted from some fabulous acrylic painting here. In this slide here, you can see a number of outcomes that have been done in the recent past, work that's still on show in school in the dining room area. You can see the kind of diversity of the work that's produced. Now, it is possible that the students could end up doing a drawing or a painting, perhaps a print, or even some 3D work in response to this unit of work. So the lovely work produced by this student here. She has used symbolism in her work to tell a story about her life and her interests, inspired by the famous Mexican portrait painter Frida Kahlo. Here we can see some absolutely fabulous acrylic painting. It's a portrait of the student's sister, who you can see in the photographs there was mimicking the poses seen in Andy Warhol's print of Elizabeth Taylor. And here's a range of excellent outcomes. And they're all different because all the students are different after all. So it depends upon what their motivations are with the work, whether it's about society, topical issues, or whether they just want to produce something which is very observational, inspired by an artist, or perhaps something about their own personal background. So following the coursework, you'll have the exam. Now it starts in January of Year 11, and you'll have between then and about May to plan and prepare an answer from a question you've chosen from the exam paper. You only have to answer one question. Again, it's very practical. It's like the coursework. You only have to find one answer in the paper of course that you'd really adore and like to answer. And at the end of that preparation period, you'll have a 10-hour period of time, 2 school days, in which to do an outcome for that body of work. So this question on messages was posed on the 2019 exam paper. So the next slide you'll see is a real student's answer to that particular question. So this student has started by looking at the work of Audrey Flack and Peter Clays, artists that deal with themes of mortality, life's luxuries, vanity, that kind of thing. And in the photographs of her sister clutches her favourite teddy bear close to her, and dealing with messages to do with security and comfort and affection. In the next phase of her work, she decided to look at things that she's particularly proud of, her dance trophies. And in these 3 ideas, all like 1-page size of a sketchbook, she has placed together her dance shoes, her trophies, and then photographed them, produced these lovely acrylic paintings from them. And this is, in the end, the direction that her work went. So here on the right-hand side of the slide, you can see the student's absolutely brilliant final outcome to all of that research, the planning, the thinking through that she had done from the January to about the end of April of her year 11. And we can see that the dance trophies, the medals, the shoes, put into the composition that she's then painted over the 10 hours of allowed time. So in this slide here, we've just got a basic overview of the course. If you'd like to scrutinise this in more detail, then please just pause the video.